This is Tone's Take with your host, Tony Davis.
Hey guys, what's up? Good evening. Hey, I wanted to just really talk about something other than what's been happening in our capital in DC. So I found this article on Reddit about Beyoncé through her BeyGOOD Foundation, basically giving 100 people $5,000 grants if you need help with mortgage, housing, anything like that. Make sure that you go check that out. It's through the NAACP. So again, go check it out. But some of the comments made me think about, why don't the rich give more? Obviously, Beyoncé is a multi-millionaire. Her husband is a billionaire. Why only $5,000 to 100 people? And I think a lot of people sort of had that question. A lot of people were like, well, she's doing something. Something's better than nothing. And I get both arguments. Something's better than nothing, but I still get the argument that why don't they do more? Why don't rich people do more in general? I tried to look at the psychology of it, and there's actually an article from the Atlantic, and it gives some pretty good reasons. It talks about, why do many wealthy people who can afford to give away much more money than they do, why don't they? And some of the reasons are, why would it be expected that society's richest give any money at all? After all, wealth doesn't bestow any unique insight, nor is it proof of empathy. A lot of times we think that, rich people have the same empathetic feelings as us, that they should, want to help out more. And that's not really the case. It says instead, there is a body of psychological and behavioral economics research suggesting that wealthy people are generally less caring, less generous, and aware of how others think, feel, and live. And I think that's true. As you gain more wealth, you start to separate yourself. You don't remember where you came from. Some people do. Like I'm sure that's how Beyonce's feeling, why she decided to do this. And just looking through this article some more, in a study that was published in Psychological Science, they gave their subjects some Google Glass. Do you all remember Google Glass, the glasses that were supposed to be revolutionary? But basically, they say using the technology to track people's eye movements, the researchers discovered, couldn't say that word, the researchers discovered that their upper income subjects spent significantly less time looking at people in their field of vision. In other words, they just didn't really care about them. So that's pretty interesting. And another study titled Higher Social Class Predicts Increased Unethical Behavior, and this was published back in 2012, it found that the higher a subject's self-described social rank, the more candy they took from a jar labeled as being for children. Like this is like complete Mr. Burns effect, right? It's crazy that, what could explain these behavioral, things that people do. When they get richer, they become stauncher. So, this one part of the article says, what explains these patterns of behavior? Well, the one way to think of social networks is as a form of insurance. So if I look out for you, you'll do the same for me when I need help. But this isn't as much of a concern for the wealthy. You need people less. And so you have the resources to deal with any kind of threat you might experience. This is the same going all the way back to like the Gilded Age. You have these same similar dynamics. There were, a percentage of people that were rich and they didn't give. And it ended up being a lot of philanthro shaming, which is something that, again, people were trying to do to Beyonce, saying she's not giving enough, she's not doing enough. We do it to everybody. We do it to, the Jeff Bezoses, to Elon Musk. We see them do a little bit and we say, why not more? And it's interesting. And so it's obviously bugged us. There are a lot of countries that, they tax their rich more to kind of overcome this issue, this disparity. And is it the right thing to tax the rich more? A lot of people would say yes, but a lot of those people that are saying yes are people that aren't in higher, income, stratospheres. They don't make a lot of money, so they, of course, would say that. They want people to get taxed more. But when you think about it, what are your taxes supposed to go towards? They're supposed to go towards the public good. And so if I'm a rich person and I have my own private jet, I'm not driving on a road, I'm not living in a house, I don't, need it to get from point A to point B because someone delivers my food for me, why would I care? I'm barely in the country anyway. I go off to an island, so why am I being taxed? There's a lot of things that I'm sure a rich person thinks about that I don't think about, and they say, why would you tax me more when I'm not using your services in which my tax dollars are supposed to go towards? I can afford to buy my own hospital and heal myself if I needed it, for instance. So I'm sure there's a lot of things that go into it. And that's probably why they push, Republicans that typically side with them to say, no, don't do this, because Republicans are all about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, even if you can't afford bootstraps in the first place. So again, this is a lot of psychology, and I wish I had more time to kind of go into it and understand it more. Why is it that as we climb the social ladder, we don't reach back to help others out? I'd love to hear what you have to think about this, and I'm just glad that I'm not talking about all the other crappy news and headlines that are happening. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Would you give back more if you were making more, or do you think that you become a Mr. Burns, C. Montgomery Burns, for instance? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out.